Swift Matty J says, I've seen Jaxon Smith-Njigba for us at 10. Please tell, agree with me. That's the last thing we would want. I saw Jaxon Smith-Njigba as the third ranked player on Elliott Shore Park's Twitter or tweet like 3 days ago. I think he had Carter, Bijan, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, which is interesting. You talk about positions of need. Now, I get the idea that Smith-Njigba is probably the best receiver in this draft. There are arguments there. Quentin Jefferson, or the guy from TCU, guy from USC. There are some good ones here, but I think Smith-Njigba is an absolute freak of nature. He's really good. I just, at 10, that could be a trade back to 18 because you don't like what you have at 10, and then take the best player available, and it happens to be him. Jaxon Smith-Njigba at 10 to me would be very bizarre. Now, it'd be like Bijan. It'd be fun. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. We'd all be watching, but I mean, come on. There's got to be. I'd rather have Lucas Van Ness at number 10 than Jaxon Smith-Njigba just for a position of need. And I'm not a big Van Ness fan.
Yep, I agree. No, I don't think that you really have, and you can make the argument, well, Bijan Robinson would be a luxury pick, but I just don't know that you have a luxury pick of saying I'm going to take a wide receiver 3 because, like we've mentioned, depending on who you even get there, it's almost like a wide receiver 4 because you've got Goddard in the mix, and you could throw him as kind of the wide receiver 3, especially with how often he's used. I know there's always injuries, and you got to have backup plans. It never hurts to get an extra weapon, but it feels like an extreme luxury. Don't get me wrong; it would be fantastic to see him in this offense. And you add it with Jalen, but yeah, I'm with you. The only way that makes sense, I think, is trading back, and then you see kind of where the chips fall. It's like, oh, hey, you know what? He's still available. We traded back. We got an extra draft pick. Okay, maybe it makes sense. Let's go ahead and grab him. But otherwise, I can't see you taking a receiver because you can get some receivers later in the rounds, or maybe you look for someone even in free agency. We've known Howie to take forever, to make decisions or to make it's not like he's going to, the offense or the roster is solidified before the draft. Like he's done this right before the season starts. So you never know what's going to happen entirely, but that timeline, I don't know, that comes into play. And I just can't see him going and solidifying, for a wide receiver 3 spot. Cause that's not a guy that's going to be on the field. Let's be honest. That's not a guy that's going to be on the field a ton. I mean, you can get a lot of three receiver sets, but the offense is not going to be with the RPO, the ground and pound, the offensive line, like wear teams out. I don't think you draft that and go, hey, let's shift things up and try to play 3 receiver sets all day long. So I don't know. I think risk reward is not really worth it there.
Quez Watkins had 20 some catches last year, 40 some targets. I mean, at most you're getting 50 targets. How many targets do you want to take away from Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and Dallas Goddard? I mean, it's just a question you got to ask yourself with a first-round draft pick.
And everybody's got to eat. So
everybody has to eat because receivers
I love the receivers
very unhappy.
But
they get very unhappy when they don't eat. Very unhappy. Okay, let's go through some of the comments here. There's a bunch. I'm okay with Witherspoon or Gonzalez at 10. They're great players. I think Gonzalez is fantastic. He's one of the best corners to come out in a very long time. But again, when's he going to play, right? When is he going to be actually on the football field? It's literally Jaxon Smith-Njigba all over again. Take what Josh just said and copy paste with Christian Gonzalez. I mean, both great players. They're both starters. They're not going to start, and that's a problem. Porter at 30 would be nice. Him and Bijan. I think that's not a bad idea. That's fine. 86 Blackberry Whites. Side note, I can't believe Thomas passed on Lucas Van Ness at 30 in his mock draft. LOL. I thought about it, but if you're getting Jalen Carter, do you need to get another defensive lineman in round 1? I feel like Philadelphia could get, as long as they get one this draft in, the first 3 picks, and aka 2 first rounders and then the second round draft pick, they're fine. You don't need a second. They're going to have so many draft picks next year. They can basically take any pass rusher they want outside of the top 10 because they're going to be sitting hopefully 32 next year. But Van Ness at 30, it would be hard to pass on, but it's not a necessity if you get Jalen Carter because Carter is a pass rushing defensive tackle who is going to get plenty of pressures on that defensive line.
Yep. And there's other names that we can target, and you may have seen, but I think this just broke a second ago, but BJ Ojulari has a visit with the Eagles. So he's another top 30 visit. Talking about a pass rusher, that's not probably a first-round selection. You're talking about maybe a second-round pick or even the Eagles trading back and acquiring multiple. So that may be a target, I think, that Howie's saying, what do we do about day 2 options? So I agree, especially to, like you mentioned there, if you got Jalen Carter, I could see it. I don't think it's impossible where, hey, you just double dip and go for the defensive line. But much like Todd McShay's draft, he released the 4.0 version. And so he had Lucas Van Ness at 10 and he had Will McDonald at 30. I didn't really like the mock draft first off, but I just don't think it's a realistic option that Howie's going to say, yeah, let's go D-line for both of the picks. I could see D-line, O-line really is where I see this thing, whether it's picking O-line first and then a D-line or you flip it. If I'm going to say that's what Howie's going to do, that would be where my money is. But again, I always hope that it's Bijan Robinson. So we're holding out hope that actually happens.
Everybody watching, 97 people right now, we appreciate you. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Be nice to get to 97. I'll do a shameless plug. My birthday is tomorrow. I want likes for my birthday. Give a thumbs up for my birthday. That's what I want. That's all I want. I want to get to the same amount of likes as viewers. That's what I would like for my birthday. Give a thumbs up for the show. Jalen Carter will be a star, says Vinny. Ryan has the unpopular take here, but maybe it's the smarter one. I don't know. He says, get Skoronski, build the future of this line on the backs of Skoronski. Dickerson and Mailata will be great for years. The only reason you get Skoronski is if you think Lane Johnson plays one more year, but his contract extension says he's going to play at least 2 more years. And so we're talking about Andre Dillard all over again. Now, at the time, they drafted Andre Dillard to be the starter. There was no Jordan Mailata, and then Mailata came along. But are you going to let Skoronski at 10 sit for 2 years? And if the argument is, well, what about Cam Jurgens? Cam's probably going to play right guard. He at least has a whole NFL offseason, a whole NFL season practicing at right guard, according to reports, because they kind of expected this to happen. Is Skoronski going to beat him out when he was a tackle? I know he played other positions, but a tackle mainly at Northwestern? I don't buy it. So you got to take somebody that really wouldn't play much at 10 and who might not play much for a couple of years. That's my problem with Skoronski. Not that he's a bad player, just my problem with it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll play devil's advocate here. And I know we've got some people in the comments saying, Skoronski be a day one starter, right guard day one starter, Stoney Hawks mentioning that. Like, that's the possibility. And I think the only way that you might say, well, wait a minute, are there things that we're not quite seeing that maybe a bigger storyline here? What if the Eagles are not as confident in Cam Jurgens as we believe they are? Like, if they take a Peter Skoronski, does that tell you, whoa, okay, so Cam Jurgens is maybe not ready to play right guard, or they're not impressed with him enough to say, you know what, let's give him some competition, because he could actually lose that job. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. I think it's unlikely, like you mentioned from the reports and what we're hearing, because he's had a full season under his belt to kind of learn and hopefully improve and get ready to play this position. But again, draft night will be very telling, because I agree. I think if you take an offensive lineman at that spot, especially like Peter Skoronski, which all the scouts and everybody's saying he might be a better guard in the NFL than a tackle because of his arm length, and you've got some flexibility there. And obviously he could move out to tackle if you needed him to, but I don't see that happening unless maybe Cam Jurgens is as good as we thought he is.
That's a good point. That would have to be the take if they were to take him at number 10. That or Lane is leaving earlier than we think. It's one of the two. But let's hope that's not the case, because we want somebody else. Okay.
Yeah.
Andrea Bland always jumps in here. We always appreciate you, Andrea. 10 entries into the jersey giveaway. Andrea is really stacking up the entries the past couple of weeks. What's up, guys? Enjoying the Wednesday show as usual. Andrea, we appreciate you. Hope you're having a great Wednesday night. Andrea's got to have close to 50 entries, right? She's been...
Yep, we're at 40 now.
40 entries for Andrea into our jersey giveaway. If you're just joining us and you want to have a chance to win Bijan's jersey, Peter Skoronski's jersey, it's possible. We'd send it to you, because that's how it works. The first round draft pick of the Eagles jersey could be yours. We'll get to pick a random winner who is super chatted, a random donation who is super chatted during our Wednesday live shows up until night one of the NFL draft to go ahead and win that jersey. Each dollar is 1 entry. And Andrea, again, we appreciate you and welcome to the Wednesday show. Kyle says the trenches are more important. They are. But everyone's forgetting that our trenches are pretty darn good. I mean, you could literally start a backup player at right guard, and you're still having a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. I mean, it's still very, very popular.
Yes. And I did a show on it earlier, and I think Brendan Deeg was the one who had the tweet on it, but he's like, hey, why don't we use the cheat code that is Jeff Stoutland? And that's a great point. You don't ever necessarily have to draft or use your early draft capital to say, let's take a first round or even second rounder on an offensive lineman, when you've got Jeff Stoutland, who can obviously improve someone, because you got a Jordan Mailata is the best case scenario. Now, you're probably not looking at it saying, yeah, we could do that with every 7th rounder, but the fact that you can look at a day 2, day 3 position or a draft position and take that guy, get him with Jeff Stoutland, he's not probably coming into play from day 1, and get him much improved. That's a very good argument to be made. When you've got the best offensive line coach in football, you use him.
I think both offensive line and wide receiver could totally be undrafted guys. You bring them in and you say, okay, compete for Cam Jurgens' spot, compete for Quez Watkins' spot. Go for it. And if they win, they win. If they lose, we're still fine. Let's see here. Happy birthday, bro, from Vinny. I appreciate that. Getting ready for tomorrow. Cool Rain says, happy birthday. Wish for an Eagles Super Bowl. I will tomorrow, 100%. I have a birthday dinner my girlfriend planned out for us, so I'll be wishing for an Eagles Super Bowl for sure. Jalen Carter is not Marcus Smith 2.0. Someone just said that in the chat. We do forget that pick does exist. And the offensive lineman, the firefighter guy. Those do exist. But what are you going to do? I wouldn't take Skoronski at 10 either. Paul says Bijan all the way. Vinny with a $20 entry into the jersey giveaway here. Happy birthday. Never shave the stash. Vinny is a pro stash guy. Vinny, you got 20 more entries in here. You know, it's a little trim, but it's not going away, baby. Come on, it's not going away. It's my birthday. I'm not going to shave it. It's not going away.
It's your birthday. Surely she can't ask you on your birthday.
No, she won't. Not a chance. Vinny, we appreciate it and welcome into. I think Vinny had entries before. We're going to double check that, but Josh has the spreadsheet, so he has it all ready for us. 116 people watching. Be sure to like. Nolan Smith available at 30. Nolan Smith was available at 29 in my mock draft today. He went to 29 with the Saints. The Saints had moved back and with some sort of weird trade. So that would be interesting. That to me is more where Nolan Smith belongs in terms of the actual, skill for what you see. I know he had a good combine, but to me, it's a 20th something round pick in the first round. But that was interesting in my mock draft where a lot of McShay and Kuipers have him going in the top 15. In mine, he went 29th. So what are you going to do? Has Philly ever drafted a linebacker in the second round? Jack Campbell from Iowa. Someone mocked Jack Campbell to us recently. Who was it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who that was, actually.
It was the first time that I had seen anybody mock a linebacker early to us. Campbell, is he starting? Is he starting over Nicholas Morrow? That's the question. Is he starting over Dean and Morrow? That I don't know. I think the second round draft pick can start.
I do too. I think I'm not opposed to Jack Campbell, but I think that this would honestly need to be next year. If you had the amount of picks that we have next year in 2024's draft, then sure, I could see it because Howie's got a lot of picks that he can work with. But the fact that we don't have as many, and like we've said many times, he doesn't value the linebacker position, I think he's probably going to say, hey, you know what? We've got some guys that we want to see. Like, we're going to compete for that position, but we don't need to use a second round pick, especially when we can use it on other positions.
Yeah.
And he's going to have, Nakobe Dean is solidified. And who's that number two? Is it going to be a Nick Morrow? Is it going to be a Davion Taylor? Is it going to be, throw in and insert other name that we sign, or a Sean Bradley? Like, there's other options. And so I would lean towards right now, that's the option that's going to actually take place instead of you draft someone in the second round. Again, I think Jack Campbell could be great, but you just don't really seem to have that draft capital to do that this year.